guys, welcome to another episode of We're Never Truly Alone. I am Tiffany Rice, and today I have one of my favorite friends, Dustin Pari.
Thank you very much. Glad to make one of your favorites lists.
Well, yes, the one-ofs.
Yeah.
But you've been on this podcast before, and I was like, it's brand new year, new me. You know, you hear it all the time.
Yeah, it becomes cliche, but there's still some truth to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to have you back on because everybody loved you. It was one of my highest rated podcasts.
Well,
episodes,
I do my best.
Just so you know. So I figured, you know what? We're going to do this again.
All right.
So
let's get into it. Like, what are people going through?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
The world is a dumpster fire right now, so it's hard to find motivation and like energy just to deal with it every day.
It's really hard, and especially if you're connected to online, social media. I feel like I have been inundated with a lot of turmoil lately, and it's not even like I can just look at dog videos and be happy.
Right.
You know, I try.
Yeah.
I try to look at as many dog videos as I can, or baby laughing videos, and that brings me pure happiness and joy. But then right in between those videos, something shows up on my feed where there's like death and doom.
And it's hard. It's hard to like not doom scroll. It's hard to just be like, oh, this looks awful, let me go buy it. It's like, oh, looks awful, what is this? And then like you get on this rabbit hole of misery and people fighting and yelling, and that just, you know, we all work on energy and vibration, and so now we are choosing, we're actively choosing to lower our vibration and to go into this mode, and then it just gets worse from there. And then we lose time,
right?
Like we lose time while we're doing good or bad, right?
Yeah.
But if you're enjoying it, at least it's time well placed,
right?
But now you're going down a miserable path, looking at stuff that is mildly upsetting and makes you more upset as you continue to go through it. And now you've wasted 2 hours, 3 hours, and you've done nothing productive and nothing to raise your vibration or make you feel good at all.
And, you know, it doesn't help that for me, I do like to watch the true crime. And I do like to watch, it's funny because I do like to watch the cop videos.
Oh, okay.
So I'll watch one and then it's almost like an addiction because then I'm like, well, wait a minute, that person didn't get in trouble, but now they're on the search for that person. So then I have to go find the other video and watch. So I am just as bad. So I'm sitting here saying to you, I just missed the dog videos and the baby videos.
But you're choosing to watch the cop videos.
Oh, yeah.
I've been into videos of because I have Raisin, my Sphinx cat.
Oh yes,
and so there's a
a
bunch of Sphinx cat feeds, and there's one that I like now where it's just this cat that they have in the tub, and they put lights around the background and everything. Nothing that's going to electrocute the cat,
right?
But it's just sitting there, and it's got like ornaments floating in the tub, and it just likes to sit with one paw and slap the water,
right?
And there's something like therapeutic about watching this wrinkled, miserable looking cat slap water. I'm like, oh, no one's getting hurt, no one's yelling.
Yeah,
like I'm having fun too. You know, it's strange.
It's just like a zone out, zen out.
Yeah,
zone out, zen out. That's what it is.
Yeah,
you know,
I like it.
And I think it's hard because we are in a society now where social media plays such a huge part.
Huge, yeah.
And it's not even just social media. It's I find that people aren't even watching TV as much. You know, the regular TV stations. Now you have Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, all these other networks, and life is just changed.
It has changed a lot to the point where I don't even know how to like find things or look for things I want to watch, which is frustrating sometimes. Because then again, it's like a time suck. It's like, oh, okay, I subscribed to Apple TV, but the power went out last week, so now I got to reinstall it. I got to scan some stupid QR code, and then they're going to send me another code to my phone, and then I'm going to verify I'm not a robot, and then I'm going to look for something, and then they're still going to ask me for $5, even though I pay $20 a month. It's a losing situation. And what really bothers me is I'm like, I wasted all this time doing something that's got a garbage result at the end of it, you know?
Right.
So I've been trying to focus more on going out in nature, which being in New England in the winter kind of sucks because it's not always pleasant. I can enjoy a cold walk. Like that's okay, you know, because you come home, you warm up afterwards, but you feel more alive. But just being out in nature is so much better for us. It's so therapeutic.
Right.
You know, I did an event recently where we took everybody out in the woods in the middle of the night. I was like, we're just going to listen to tribal music and just I want you to stare up at the stars.
Wait, were you at the Conjuring
I
House?
was at the Conjuring House. That's where I did this. It was great. I was like,
on the beautiful 8 acres of land
it's
there.
so gorgeous there. I love honestly. I mean, the house is great. But
You
I love
have to
the
go there
land.
in the summer.
I love the land more. Not too late in the summer though, because then it's too hot. I'm a very fancy boy. I have like a temperature between like 60 and 70 where I'm comfortable.
Oh my gosh.
And then it's too hot and I'm miserable, or it's too cold and I'm cranky. But it was a nice night. And I just told everybody, like, just stare up at the stars. I mean, you can do this at your own house. You don't have to go, anywhere special. Just stare up at the stars. And then if there's trees around, like, you realize how small you are, right? Because you have the trees as your gauge of perspective, kind of like your scale. And then beyond that, you've got this old tree that's been alive longer than you have. And then you've got these stars that have been around God knows how long. And I always kind of feel like perspective changes. Like everything comes down to how we perceive things and how we choose to take that information in. So yeah, we all have our problems in life, and some are just daily nonsense like traffic and bills and BS. But some things are, obviously more serious. We have health issues, family issues, that kind of thing, relationships. But when you're just outside, if you can take 10 minutes and just stare up at the stars, you start to realize how small we really are. And like we're one little spinning rock in one little solar system in one little galaxy. Like God knows what else is out there. And our little problems, it's not pleasant all the time, but it's not the end of the world, And I think that just changing your perspective and realizing that we're not the biggest thing in the universe. We don't need to be so self-focused all the time. Take the focus off yourself. I think that makes a huge difference.
Letting go of the ego.
Yeah, for sure.
Letting go of the ego and getting back to basics. And I feel like I always say this on all of my episodes, like whether it's dealing with age or dealing with, what other people's opinions and things of that nature. It can be so difficult because with going back to social media and going back to, say, Netflix, we used to have our moments a little bit more broad where we would, some of us go to work, then we'd have dinner with the family, and then we'd catch that one show on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. For me, it was The Office, and so from like 9 to 9:30 or however long it was The Office. But it was, okay, guys, don't bother me. Every Thursday night at 9 p.m., I'm going to watch The Office or I DVR it. Now with Netflix and social media not only is a huge rabbit hole, I'm so guilty of going down it, but like with Netflix, you get the whole season.
Right.
And I've done it, and I know friends that have done it where we just binge the entire season of whatever comes out. And so we're glued to that TV, to our computers for so long. And so when you bring back, having that moment of realizing how small you are in the big, huge universe, we need to get that back.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Like instead of just being like, I've even noticed with my eyes where I can't see that well. And yes, I am getting older. I get it.
I'm not saying anything.
But I was just thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, because I just had my eyes checked, but I think it's because I stare at my phone too long.
Yeah. And you're going to find that magic spot where you can see it.
Right.
Because we're all getting there. But there'll be times if you're looking at your phone for a while, then you look up at the TV, it takes a while for your eyes to adjust.
Yes.
Because you're stuck on this close distance for so long.
Absolutely. And it's like,
you want to see something really crazy?
Yes.
I think this is probably happening to more people, but I've just noticed it myself. This area in between like the second and first knuckle on my pinky is indented. It's not on this hand, but this hand is when I cradle my phone, I always hold that underneath. I hold my phone like this all the time.
Oh my gosh.
And so I've actually indented the tissue where you just feel it, and it's just, that's where the bone is, because I'm constantly doing this. We had a patient, because I work in surgery, right? We had a patient the other day who came in, and I was going to put the clips on to keep track of her heart rate. She had some type of brace on her hand. I was like, oh, what happened? She's like, oh, I hurt my thumb. She's like, from texting too much.
Stop it.
I was like, what? She's like, yeah. She's like, the doctor had to put me in a brace to prevent me from texting so much because I'm starting to get arthritis in the joints of my thumb.
I immediately feel like I need to like
right. You need like an exercise ball or something.
Well, you've probably seen it on TikTok or something.
Sure.
There's like that glove that you put on while you're sleeping, and it
bends
your
weird
finger.
robot hand. At first, I thought
I'm
it was
buying
like
that, by the way.
I thought it was like a spider or something. I'm like, what is that? Freaking! Oh, it's weird.
Right.
But like we're changing our bodies based around our phones and like even our posture. Like you watch people walk around, it's like slumped forward, head down, shuffling like zombies through our reality, and we're missing what's going on. And to your point about like Netflix and like binging,
Yes.
right? So we've become an instant gratification society. Like we don't want to wait for anything. Like Amazon takes 2 days. Oh my God, it takes 2 days.
Right.
It used to be quick, and now we're like, I gotta wait 2 days for this. I want the next day delivery.
Yeah.
You know. But with television, I mean, the holiday specials just were on recently. But like I remember being a kid and being so excited to see like it's the Charlie Brown Christmas special.
Right.
And it came on that one day. You'd find it in the TV guide because I'm that old, TV guy old. But you would find it. It's like, okay, from 8 to 8:30 on Monday, December 21st,
Yes.
I have to watch this because then it's not on all year. And now we sit there, it's whenever you want to watch it. And then how many times are we half watching something? Like something we even want to watch. And then we're like, oh, what's going on over here?
Oh, yes, that's another thing. It's like,
Yeah.
you have all this stimulation.
Too much distraction.
And then, right, like when do you have that calmness? And I talk about like doing meditation, just play that calming music. And for most of us, we're just living in a society that it is very, very difficult to have those couple moments. Like you guys, if you're listening to this podcast in the background, you hear a dog going crazy, and that is Olive. And so, there's always like stimulants. There's always something, no matter what I do.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a
Our
stimulant.
world is so noisy.
Right.
Yeah, so noisy.
Right. And I feel like I've gone over this in so many of my episodes of like how to quiet the mind. So I don't want to repeat another episode of it. But it's just maybe for you guys that are like listening and watching, maybe this is a mindset for you, or like an awareness of, you know what? Maybe I should put the phone down for 20 minutes. Or if I'm going to go to the gym, keep my phone in the bag, my gym bag, and I'm going to go and work out and just free my mind.
I pop in the AirPods, and that's it. Like the gym time is my time to just zone out from everything else, hyper focus on what I'm doing, and I don't take any phone calls. Like there's nothing else going on at that time. Like that's my 2 hours a day where I can just focus on this.
Right.
And I'm a full supporter of people trying to live their best life and trying to stay healthy. This time of year, in the beginning of the year, we get a big influx of new people at the gym. And I saw a guy the other day, he had his phone plugged into the wall, and then he had some other device plugged in, and he's got all these cords and cables. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yes.
What are we doing here, dude? Like, you don't need all this stuff, but like that's become our society. Like, I love to go hiking because I like to try to get as far away from people as possible. No, but like just, even if you're walking around your neighborhood, your block or whatever, there's cars, there's traffic, there's sirens, there's people. So to try to go there you go.
Sorry,
Just gonna silence your.
Well, and it's funny because it's my assistant who she knows.
Right.
She knows what I'm doing right now.
She's interrupting the office.
She knows.
This is what's going on.
This is what's happening. But I'm like, I need to. And I have a brand new phone. So talking about phones, I have a new phone.
You have to learn how to
and
silence
I don't
it.
know. Yes. So I didn't.
You got to keep up with the tech.
Well, so
that's the problem. They keep changing it.
So they keep changing every 2 years. Apple usually comes out with a new version.
They kill your battery, so you have to buy it.
Yes. Yeah. So I just got a brand new phone. But while I was doing the setup, which took about 5 hours on Christmas Eve because I had nothing else going on. Right. So I did that, and they told me to bring my computer in because it was a password issue. So like, they probably sent it to the computer. Meanwhile, my computer charger broke off into my computer. So not only did I have to buy a new phone, which I was due for an upgrade for a new computer too.
Yeah.
But it's just funny as we're talking, you and I are talking about going down the rabbit hole of technology and social media and all this stuff. And it's like, but we have to constantly, this is the society we live in. And it's
ridiculous.
We are just down in a rabbit hole of junk.
Yeah,
straight up junk, and I
feels
get
dirty.
Like,
it's low level. It's low vibration. It's just, and I love that it's always under the guise of, it's easier. We're making it easier for you. I was like, when I used to go downtown Providence, I wanted to go get pizza and I had to pay the parking meter. I just took 2 quarters and put it in the machine. Yeah. And now I have to scan the QR tag, download an app, take a picture of my car, upload the registration plate, and then connect it to my bank and then accept a password. I'm like, my God, the pizza's cold.
Right,
I just needed 2 quarters. I would be done.
Exactly. So, oh my gosh. And I'm so glad that you brought this up because, the last time you and I hung out, we talked about this where I swear our age group, even though we're so young, but our age group was the cutoff age.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of it.
Yes, because we were there when, the BlackBerry came out and then the iPhone.
This
and
stuff
then,
was new.
Yeah, you could get internet on your phone and texting and all that stuff.
Well, we weren't born into it.
We weren't born into it. So we had this like amazing concept of what everybody else did before major technology influences, such as like playing out in the yard till 5, 7 o'clock and not worrying about taking a picture of ourselves doing it and not creating a video and worrying about how many people watch the video or how many comments you get, or is this going to go viral? Is it not going to go viral? And it's such a catch-22 for people of a certain age because, you yourself, people know you from doing your motivational speaking and plus being on a show, Ghosthunters. So people see you. So you automatically attract people that want to know what's going on in Dustin's world.
I have to maintain that level.
Exactly.
But if I didn't do motivational speaking, if I didn't do television, I honestly don't think I would want anything to do with social media. I'd be like, no, it's just not for me. I do a lot of posting and going. Like here's my stuff. Here's where you can see me. Here's a motivational thought for the day. Here's a funny picture of my cat.
Yep.
But like, I'm not there to really read a lot or to go looking for things outside of the Sphinx cat slapping the water.
Right.
Like I'm pretty much done, but like you said, for the younger generation now, this is all they know, and my daughter who's 16, she'll be at the house and her boyfriend will come over and they're in the kitchen and they do their homework or whatever. And then slowly but surely, they both are just staring at TikTok on their separate phones, not watching the same things. And then it's like this, and then it's like this. And then like, you might as well just put your head down. Like, I don't, and I'm like, I looked at my wife. I'm like, is this dating now? Like, I don't understand. Right. Like, what is going on? Because when I was a 16-year-old boy, and I would go over. Well, I'm not going to say exactly what we would do, but it wasn't sitting there staring at a phone.
Right.
I'll tell you that.
Right.
But
right.
I'm like, I feel like they've lost the ability to truly connect. And that's very evident in just daily activities. Like a lot of people now, like, oh, I get very anxious if I need to make a phone call. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
It's a phone call.
Well, that's the thing. So many times you hear like online, people are like, oh, what happens when they actually call you instead of texting you? Right. And like, it's a big deal,
Like,
and
you're a horrible human being.
Right.
Did you ever call?
I miss the olden days, Dustin. I miss the olden days. And I know the majority of people that are listening to this podcast can relate to us.
Yeah.
Because,
we're not
now, people of our certain age.
We still leave voicemails.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but nobody else does.
No. And now they're raising kids. Just like you said, your daughter is she's at that age where it's all about the technology.
Right.
And like, it's really stressful, like being a business owner. You're a business owner. I'm a business owner. Same. Like, I always create the content and I'm like, okay, well, what are people going to watch? Or is that going to be entertaining? Is that what people want?
Like
and
this.
It's just a lot. And, it's kind of like just like, I worry about the future when it comes to the society that we live in and having so many people that don't know or have the major anxiety, because now let's bring that topic in too, because now not only are our bodies changing from holding our phones and our eyes are going bad, and now we have this hump on our neck. We're walking around like zombies. Yeah. And then we live a sedentary, is that the right? Sedentary lifestyle where you're watching a season of Yellowstone and you're there for like 48 hours straight just eating whatever so now you have that, and it's just kind of like, well, what do we for the kids that don't know any different, like how are they going to be able to understand proper communication, being able to like put the technology down, put the TV away, and just learn with coping. We need a psychologist in here on this conversation.
I'll tell you,
with us.
There's a lot to handle, and I think like you said, it becomes easier and easier for the future generations just to become more and more dependent on the technology. And I've seen it, like, I travel a lot and I'll be sitting in the airport. I've been a parent for a long time. I know sometimes little children are very difficult to handle. And yeah, they're going to cry. They're going to get upset. But now when they cry and get upset, we just shove the iPad in front of them, and we're teaching them at this young age, just press the button. Like they can't fully verbally communicate yet, but they know if I press the button, I get some cartoon dog.
Yes.
So I will stop yelling because now I can press the button and see the cartoon dog. That's what I want. So it's that dopamine release, that lab rat response of I've done the trick and I get the reward. And by instilling that and enforcing it, we are doing them a great disservice because now they're not communicating. There's a lot of children now that are having a lot of trouble communicating verbally because parents are all working 2-3 jobs because nobody can pay for anything anymore.
Because everything's so expensive.
Yeah, so you're working constantly, so you don't spend as much time with family as you used to. And then when you do, and the kid gets out of control, sometimes, and again, and I'm not knocking anybody for it. I know it's tough, but you can't just keep shoving a robot in front of them and teach them to press the button, but that's what we've become. I mean, back when I was in high school, right? Like I knew everybody's phone number. I knew their ring mate number if they had that, their pager number. I knew my code to put in if I paged them, and they would know to call me back if they saw 1507. They're like, oh, that's Dustin, and like they would go ahead and text me, or call me.
Right.
They knew my phone number, but now it's like I gotta, like my best friend since first grade, I gotta find his picture, and then I'm like, oh, that's the guy I want to call, and then because I don't know anybody's number anymore.
Right.
Like we've dumbed ourselves down to that point, and that's just become what we are. And it's I almost feel like the whole damn thing has to come crashing down, like before anybody's going to start to find their way back. But it's going to be very dangerous because just like you make a copy of a copy of a copy, the original quality is lost. So a lot of the old ways of doing things I was making an Irish stew this morning. I get up super early. I prepped all my vegetables and things, and then I found myself Googling part of the recipe because I'm like, oh, I kind of forgot how to, how long do I put this in or how much? And I was like, so if we get rid of the Google, if there was no option to go look for something, like we'd have to go back to cookbooks and that kind of stuff. But people don't even have those things around now.
It's sad.
It is. We've done ourselves a great disservice under the guise of making things easier for ourselves with technology. It's good if you can use it.
Easy, but yet lazy.
Yeah, it really is.
And then, while we're talking about the downfall of society because of technology.
It's a big topic today.
Like, let's talk about the filters, right? And I'm going to tell you I'll be straightforward with you. I will put that Paris filter on like nobody, like nobody else. I will throw that Paris filter on. I am a certain age and I feel more.
It makes you feel
it makes me feel better when I throw that filter on.
But your photos, from what I see from what you post and like knowing you and seeing you, it's not that much of a change. Where some people you look at it, I'm like, do you really think people think this is what you look like?
Right.
Like it looks like a painted thing. Like it looks completely fake. I'm like, this is just ridiculous.
Like the bold glamour filter on TikTok.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, we'll have to do it. But ultimately,
I want to be pretty.
Or like Snapchat. I never got involved in Snapchat.
No,
that was like the next age group below me, younger. But so now we have. When I was growing up, the models, we'll say that I looked up to, like Cindy Crawford, and you think of like all the Victoria's Secret models. Those are the models that I like wanted to be. Yeah, and that was it. Yeah. But now you have all these influencers that are highly filtering themselves in so many ways. And it just seems like, I'm sure you've seen the memes, right? But you're going to talk about social media where it's like, oh, this is what I looked like at 13. And it had, like with me, for me personally, I had bangs that were sky high and like whatever, baggy clothes, wearing co-ed naked field hockey t-shirts, right? That was like the
bum
taboo.
Equipment.
Yes, skids, like all of that. And now you have these young girls that are now dressing very some of them, not all of them, but some of them are dressing, I would call, and this is where my age comes in, but very provocatively,
That's
and so
the term I would use as well. And it's very, and I know I'm kind of old school too, but I was like, and especially being the parent of a teenage girl, I just feel like it's just so inappropriate. And especially in like, my God, you want to talk about like hot button topics with all the things going on in the world, but like with all the pedophilia problems and things that are out there. The last thing I want to see is a child dressed up to look like a sexy adult, quote unquote. Like it's just,
Yeah.
It's just not right, and just, bring back the days of when the models looked like Cindy Crawford and that, where we're like,
Right.
okay, well, this is a woman.
Yeah.
Like, this makes sense. Here's somebody who's of a certain age. But even then, like, nothing was so, like, scandalous,
Right. It was Victoria's Secret was the scandalous.
Yes. I remember waiting for the mom's catalog to come in and check that out.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I can remember, like, playing George Michael, I Want Your Sex.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember playing and like looking at my mom like,
right, like, oh my God, like
oh my gosh,
yeah,
I can't believe I'm playing this in front of her, and I'd get like so embarrassed about it, but I'd be like, oh my gosh.
I was thinking of that today because on the radio, which this kills me too, because in Rhode Island, B101, the oldie station, is now playing Madonna's Like a Virgin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when this song came out, this was such like a thing you couldn't talk about.
Right.
Like, it was ridiculous, you know? And
yes.
she had like in the video with the brassiere on, like the big pointy rocket thing. And I was like, and now like I listen to music that like my daughter and her friends listen to, and it's there's no innuendo. It's just swearing. It's very explicit.
Are we just old, Dustin?
Yeah.
Like, I think, because now I'm like,
welcome to the Tiffany Show. We're going to rant about things because we're old and angry.
We're legit Golden Girls.
Get off the lawn. Somebody get me the cheesecake. I'll be on the lanai.
Everyone's like, okay, we've stopped listening to this a long time ago, because I was like, well, now with my new Velcro sneakers, such a difference than tying laces,
Absolutely.
My slide-ons.
Absolutely. Don't forget your Fiber One Daily Gummy.
We were just talking about magnesium and taking magnesium. I was like, well, now I'm on magnesium. And you're like, well, I take it too.
I take that magnesium too. It's so crazy. But I do feel like there's a way to strip down some of the things that we have now. Like, there's a way for us to be like, okay, yeah, I want to binge watch something, but you know what? It's a little more special if I just watch 2 episodes now.
Right.
And maybe I'm really going to commit myself to watching that episode and take my phone and shut it off.
Right.
Or let me just go stand outside for 10 minutes at night and just look up at the sky. And just find moments, little pockets of peace where something can actually make a difference in your life and you can fully be alive instead of living this weird half virtual life where we're like half behind our phone, half paying attention. And we've all done it, but it's just, you try to talk to somebody and then they take their phone out and start looking at it. Like, you might as well talk to the wall. And
exactly.
then you feel like you're not validated. And then I think that's a big problem, especially for children, like trying to talk to parents that are like half listening. And then we wonder why like the suicide rate and the depression rate and the anxiety rate and stuff is up for these young kids.
Right.
Nobody's really connecting, and we're totally neglected our spiritual selves, and our material selves are just in a wasteland heap of whatever we're told we're supposed to do or want to do.
Well, and also first it was TV and now it's social media, where you have certain people, because they're influencers on social media, they have this huge following, and then it's almost like anybody else doing somewhat of the similar type of situation is almost, I don't want to say discredited, but yet like people are so influenced by these influencers where it's like it's tunnel vision.
Yeah. Right. Everything else is a copycat or it's wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. And nobody wants to do a deep dive to find any information for themselves.
No.
It's like,
no.
I love even like the news articles. It's like 2-minute read. It tells you on top. You won't need to read this for more than 2 minutes.
You can do this.
But people don't want it. People just want a meme. Like, give me a headline and I will react to it without ever exploring. I used to work in news for television for many years. We would go out, we would research. There was journalistic integrity. And now, like, I'll put on the news and someone's just talking about something that was posted on Twitter or on X. I'm like, how is this news? Like, what is going on?
Right.
Like, it's so screwed up.
Right.
I don't get it.
And even if you're a business owner out there, guys, because I do my work and I do a ton with social media, but I catch myself replying to emails at 12:30 in the morning. I catch myself, like if somebody calls that's on the West Coast, it's 1 a.m. my time. It's okay. I got you. I'll call you. And it's like you have to really set those boundaries then too, because whatever happened to a day, even if you are self-employed, to a day where it's just a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 4 or whatever it may be, like setting up boundaries, and that it goes back to that, which I've talked multiple times on this podcast about boundary setting. So maybe it's about setting boundaries for yourself, for your
yourself.
own personal mental health.
And I think a lot of times those boundaries are the hardest ones to enforce, right? Because we give ourselves wiggle room all the time, and like with our diets, with the way we interact with others, the way we allow others to interact with us, like, oh, it'll be okay. Like we allow these fringe behaviors. But I can't remember what country it was now, but one of the countries made it illegal for employers to contact their employees after business hours. Like they are stripping it down to this is your work day, and then after that, the businesses will get fined for contacting you.
Wow.
So I think that just shows how important it is. I think it was some European country because they seem to have a better model for these things. But we, especially in our own lives, so we have to be able to shut things down. And I do the same thing. Like I was at the gym last night and I was like, oh, I wonder if that person ever got back to me about like this library lecture. I'm like, nope, you're at the gym. Like I had to put it in my head like, nope, this is gym time. This is your only time that you're not doing things.
It's a conscious decision that this is what you have to do.
But you have to enforce it with yourself. You can't just be easy with yourself and allow it because it's a slippery slope. And next thing you know, there's never any time for you.
Right.
And your whole life is just doing. And it's like, and I'm all about, not being selfish, but it's great to be selfless and to do for others. But if you don't take care of yourself first, if you don't make that time, if you don't say, okay, I'm not going to watch all 8 episodes of this, I'm just going to watch 1 or 2, and I'm going to go for a walk and I'm not going to look at my phone the whole time. I'm going to have a conversation with somebody. I'm going to go to dinner and just put my phone away.
Right.
Like you have to make those moments to do it, and you have to try to embrace things that are higher vibration and avoid the low vibration things that are just. It's like being a kid in the candy store. You want all the garbage stuff because it's delicious and it's amazing and it's sexy to look at, but it's not good for you.
Right.
Have it once in a while, just not all the time.
Right. So it's so important to climb out of that rabbit hole of technology.
Yeah, not easy. Little steps help though.
And I think it might be a little easier for our generation because we know what it's like.
We remember.
We remember.
Yeah. Barefoot in the grass, drinking out of the hose, running around.
Right.
The sky was really blue and the sun was yellow. Now it's just like a white ball of chemical heat.
Right.
But you could look at the sun for a couple of minutes at least, or seconds when you're little. Now it hurts. Like just to look up sometimes during the day.
Right.
It's a weird new world. But we remember the old days.
I know.
Those are good times.
Back in the olden days.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny to think about that. And like even going back to when I was younger, real younger, we had Oregon Trail. And it was in school. It was like everybody could sign up on a piece of paper. And I didn't really even care about Oregon Trail. I didn't. Yeah. It wasn't really my thing. And because I'm just not into computers, but it's just funny because that was like a big deal.
That
and
was the
everybody
gateway.
Went crazy.
Yeah. Now look
everybody
where we are.
was crazy about that. Yeah.
Pressing the space bar to shoot the arrow at the deer. Like we had one computer in the back of our classroom and it's like, it was your turn to do it. It was like a huge deal.
Yes.
That was a big thing,
Yep.
But now we're so it's overindulgent and it's just, everything's fake. Nothing is real.
I know.
And it's just, even if you read something, it's like, well, is this true? Is it not true? And then like, all the computer generated things.
It's oh my gosh,
awful.
AI.
Yeah, it's changing everything. Like you don't know what's real or not.
Exactly. One of my friends was so upset, and he was saying, he's like, AI. What if it takes me out of business? Because it's so effective. Yeah. But I'm like, you're not going to go out of business because of AI.
Full disclosure, I do have AI generated coloring books that I make, but that's just because I can only draw stick figures.
Well, just like with anything, there's always good with bad, right? There's always good with bad. And
sure.
So, and it goes back to that superficial ego, the appearance, like with AI, you can say, okay, please, I need to get back to Dustin. Send him a text about meeting him wherever, and it would come out with a whole paragraph of something.
As I saw on Facebook now, you can have AI help write your posts, correct your grammar, give you a topic. I'm like, I don't understand. So why? So now our social media is not even us being social. It's us pressing a button to make a robot be social and pretend to be us.
It's less isn't always more.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I've said it before, less is more, guys, but less isn't always more.
No.
It's
sometimes you need to put in the
line.
effort. You really do. But there's ways to do it. There's ways to control yourself, and it's just, I think trying to so, me, I love Christmas. I was really trying to get people in my my Patreon thing. The monthly challenge for my kindness project was to just be present. Like, be present in the moment and like be thoughtful of the things that you have. You only get so many Christmases. You only get so many birthdays. You only get so many springs, summers, and falls. Enjoy the moment while you're actually living it. How many, my God, one of the saddest things I saw is a picture of, I think it was New Year's Eve. I want to say it was in France, and the Arc de Triomphe was there in the background, and they had the lights on it, and everybody just has their phone up videoing the thing. It's like we're all like half watching it, like you go to a concert.
Yes.
Like, you're not going to go back and listen to that. It's going to sound like garbage anyway.
Right.
But like, you're not going to go back and be like, oh yeah, I saw Taylor Swift, and you're going to sit and watch a 5-minute video that you took.
Right.
You're not going to. The quality's going to be garbage. The sound's going to be garbage, and you miss the actual 5 minutes that you were there when you could have watched it yourself because you're making sure you were filming it. You weren't actually a part of it. It's like, how many times, even like the paranormal stuff that I do, everybody wants all these cameras and everything. I'm like, if a ghost showed up right in front of you, you may have recorded it, but could you say you actually saw it?
Right.
You probably can't because you're too busy looking at things. So I did this thing. One of my cameo requests that came in, it was for somebody's birthday. And I wanted to talk about how important it is to celebrate ourselves and to enjoy that entire year and every day in that year and every hour, every second, because you don't know if you have another one.
Right.
And then I realized I needed to start changing things about myself because I am a sucker for limited edition foodstuffs. Like, I love my blueberry cereal. It only comes out in the fall.
Yeah.
So I have to stockpile it. So I have it until April when it expires. But from 2015, I had a bottle of Crystal Pepsi just chilling in my fridge because I loved Crystal Pepsi. It came out originally in the early 90s and they came out again in 2015. And this one expired in 2016. And it's been sitting in my fridge for 8 years now, waiting for that special moment that I was going to pop the cap and enjoy this Crystal Pepsi. And I was going to make this video. I was like, you know what? I'm going to drink the Crystal Pepsi because what moment am I waiting to celebrate with, by the way, very flat soda?
Right.
But what moment am I waiting for to enjoy this thing? Like, people do that with bottles of wine or champagne. Oh, I'm going to wait for this, or someday I'm going to go travel to France, but I'm going to wait for this. Don't. If you can do it, go do it today. If you've got something you're holding on to, enjoy it now. Because the whole damn world could end tomorrow. Your life could end tomorrow. Might as well enjoy it while you have it. So the soda was flat but still delicious, and I enjoyed the moment. I kind of reveled in the texture, what it felt like, the nostalgia of what it was for me when I was a kid. And I was like, you know what? This is the way. This is one of my personal commitments to myself going forward, is to stop putting off those kind of things and enjoy the moment when I can, and really try to strip down all the distraction that's around me and just enjoy what's going on while I still can. And
that's really great words to live by.
Drink your Crystal Pepsi, no matter how old it is. Drink it now.
Well, that's how I am with food. Like, I try to be good with food, but yet put me in front of buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah.
Game over.
Sometimes you get to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, you have to
enjoy
yourself.
There's parameters, you know.
Right.
I go to the gym 2 hours a night because I like to eat pizza all the time.
See, at least you go. I think about it.
It's a
I
balance.
think about going. Yeah. But ultimately, guys, I guess what Dustin and I are trying to say to you is that, you know, it's making sure that in order to be a really, really good version of yourself, know your boundaries, be kind to yourself. Remember, what you see on TV, what you see on social media isn't always what it really is. So take everything with a grain of salt.
That's it. Don't live by comparison. Live in the moment and really just put yourself out there and just try to be your best self. Know you're going to screw up all the time. That's part of the human experience, but you learn from it and you get better.
So thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I enjoy being an old man and ranting about things I don't like.
How can I know? That's how I feel too. I'm like, get the blueberry cheesecake, please. All right. So, Dustin, how can people find you?
Very easily online at dustinpari.com.
What social media?
Yeah, make sure you go to all the social media pages and scroll to mine. And it's just at Dustin Pari, Pari is the last name. There's a lot of pictures of food and my wrinkled cat. No misery,
Great content.
though.
Great content.
There's no misery. There's no angry things.
No.
There's no doom scrolling on my stuff. It's all happiness. Even when people tell me how much they hate me, I thank them for watching and for being a part of my life.
I hear you. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of We Are Never Truly Alone. And until next time, guys.